It's Tuesday, November 19. This is the news on PBCJ. I am Simone Absalom. More than 200 persons have been issued warning notices for failing to comply with instructions to destroy mosquito breeding sites on their properties. The Westmoreland Health Department says the notices were issued by vector control workers subsequent to the activation of the Ministry of Health and Wellness's Enhanced Mosquito Control Program in August. The action is in keeping with the department's ramped-up efforts to curtail the threat of dengue fever. Acting Director Control Coordinator for Westmoreland, Strachan, says some persons continue to ignore warnings to destroy existing potential breeding sites on their premises. Individuals refusing to obey the notices are liable to be taken before the courts and fined. The Child Protection and Family Services Agency, CPFSA, is joining the rest of the world in observing World Day for the Prevention of Child Abuse and the 30th anniversary of the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child. Jamaica adopted the convention 28 years ago. Several activities have been organized for the day, including a child rights village and concert at Emancipation Park from 2 p.m. to 9 p.m. Public Relations and Marketing Manager at the CPFSA, Rochelle Dixon, told GIS that the decision to have a child rights village instead of a vigil is to place special emphasis on the rights of the child in alignment with the UNCRC anniversary. There will be a special remembrance ceremony for children who have died under tragic circumstances from October 2018 to the present. The Jamaica Male Advancement Network wants the government to endorse paternity leave. They believe it will allow men to provide moral and physical support for their spouses in the weeks following the birth of their child. The issue has been a point of debate for several months, and some private sector companies have led the way in allowing fathers to paid paternity leave. Speaking at a Guyana forum last week, members of the cross-denominational male advocacy group said that such a move would help to destroy the myth that most Jamaican fathers are deadbeat dads. Let's hear what the men are saying about the issue of paternity leave in Jamaica today.
No. Most of the man is very carefree. They will get their children or their child and run, leave them. The woman have to stay and shoulder the responsibility and be the mother and the father to grow up that child or children. So we as men need to be more caring and more responsible.
Well, check your balance now. The recognition part. We the rough tumble man where I go to work, we don't need no recognition. We don't get comfort because they say if he's a hard working man, you know say you're going to pick the right choice. Pick a lady where I going to make sure she properly deal with him. You go to work and you come back in. And your appreciation that, you know, whether the food upon the table or thing clean. We need to sit down and put on a day for you. But don't nice and mama will put on a day for mommy and carry the baby in a belly 9 months. Is it?
If it's even a gift, many fathers put out their hard work short, and when that day comes, that special day, there's nothing, you know. Sometimes it's not the gift or anything like that beyond that, but it's a thought. Just to know that you have been recognized and you have done something which is worthwhile, and if it's even a pat on your shoulder, that would make a big difference, because at times men don't really ask for much.
Well, I think so, you know. The only thing I have a problem with is just that, and when you see Mother's Day come around, the amount of thing you see on the road selling for mothers, and when Father's Day come around, you don't see nothing. But away from that, I think man recognize as much as women. Yeah.
A health and wellness expo, a job fair and school tours are among several activities slated to mark International Men's Day today, November 19. Other events scheduled for the day and week, including the pinning of male members of parliament and senators at Courthouse at 2 p.m. and a wellness fair at the Rudolph Elder Park in Morant Bay, St. Thomas on Friday, November 22, beginning at 10 a.m. The events are being organized by the Bureau of Gender Affairs. Acting Director of Policy and Research at the BGA, Nardi McLaren, says men and boys will be celebrated during the Bureau's headline event on the day, a forum and expo scheduled for the Jamaica Conference Center in downtown Kingston from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Life expectancy for men in the Caribbean is 5.8 years below that of women, partly because societal expectations contribute to risk-seeking behaviors. That's according to the Pan American Health Organization, PAHO. The organization on Monday released a report titled Masculinities and Health in the Region of the Americas, ahead of International Men's Day. The report notes that societal expectations of men to be providers, engage in risk-seeking behaviors, to be sexually dominant, are contributing to higher rates of suicide, homicide, addictions, and road traffic accidents, as well as chronic non-communicable diseases among men. The report also highlights that 1 out of 5 men die before the age of 50. The Jamaica Business Development Corporation, JBDC, will be hosting a series of activities from November 18 to November 23 to commemorate Global Entrepreneurship Week. The JBDC's Corporate Communications Manager, Suzette Campbell, says the activities form part of the agency's objective of energizing the entrepreneurship ecosystem. According to Ms. Campbell, the events to be held under the theme Creating Opportunities, Developing Economies will mark the culmination of the corporation's efforts this year to highlight the orange, blue, and green economies. Entrepreneurs interested in being part of the week's activities can visit the JBDC website at www.jbdc.net to register. Staff at the Mandeville Courthouse are concerned about a prolonged period of proper temporary courthouse. Fire gutted sections of the courthouse earlier this month. Members of staff have had to work under a tent just outside the damaged courthouse over the last 2 weeks. With no phone lines available and only face-to-face contact with the public, workers say they have been seriously inconvenienced. The members of staff are not the only ones impacted by the current arrangements, as attorneys and their clients have had to make adjustments to their schedules. Stockbroker Ryan Strachan is now president-elect of the Young Professional Affiliate of the Jamaica Labour Party, Generation 2000, more popularly known as G2K. G2K, in a statement, said Strachan was elected at the organization's annual general meeting. Outgoing President Stephen Edwards had previously indicated that after 3 years as president of the organization, he would not seek re-election. Strachan was elected by the Central Executive Committee of G2K. He had previously served the organization as Policy Committee Chairman and Vice President. The US dollar is being traded at 139 Jamaican dollars 90 cents, down by 50 cents, and that's according to the Bank of Jamaica's daily foreign exchange trading summary. The Canadian dollar ended trading at $105.27, down from $105.99, while the British pound sterling ended trading at $180.24, down from $180.32. In regional news, we look to Dominica, where Police Commissioner Daniel Carbon is calling for peace and more civil and responsible behavior as election campaigning intensifies. His call comes amidst reports of removal and destruction of campaign posters and billboards.
Dominica is a democracy, and general elections must be conducted in an atmosphere of peace and tranquility. Especially so, the general election campaign must be conducted in an atmosphere of peace, tranquility, love, and mutual respect for each other, regardless on which political side you are on. Since the start of the general election campaign, there have been numerous threats of violence, and it has, to my mind, and what I've been observing, degenerating into actual acts of violence.
The top cop sent a stern warning to citizens, asking them to refrain from any criminal acts.
I want to reassure the general public that the police shall ensure that the general election campaign and general elections will be executed in an atmosphere of peace and tranquility. The police is not looking to have confrontation with anybody. I've been seeing at some meetings, so-called protest action, that there are some people who are bent on provoking the police to cause some kind of reaction. The police are sensible. They have been exercising a lot of restraint. We will not look for confrontation, but we must exercise the authority and the power we have lawfully.
In Guyana, the Alliance for Change, the AFC, says it plans to scrutinize its candidates more closely as it prepares for the March 2020 general elections, given that it was one of their own candidates, Shandas Prasad, that helped bring down the government in a motion of no confidence last year. The party says whether it contests the elections independently or as part of the coalition party, it wants more loyal candidates. We have more in this report from Newsroom Guyana.
Will be a more rigorous scrutinizing process that each candidate will go through. And having had the experience that we have had with Charandas, we have learned from that, and things that were overlooked in the past will certainly not be overlooked at this time.
Following his vote, Prasad was expelled from the AFC and fled the country to Canada, where he also has citizenship. The no-confidence motion was tabled in the House by opposition leader Barry Jagdeo, and the police later launched an investigation to find out whether Prasad was bribed for his vote on the motion. That investigation was stalled, but Police Commissioner Leslie James recently said an international firm was being hired by the government to take over the probe. AFC executive Dominic Gaskin said the matter has not been discussed at the level of the party.
In my opinion, I think the police or the authorities, whichever authorities are conducting this investigation, should do their work as they are mandated to. They have to decide whether something is worth investigating, whether there is sufficient cause for an investigation. Not the government, not the politicians, but the relevant authorities have to be empowered to do the necessary investigations when these matters come up.
Gaskin, the former Minister of Business, will not be on the new list of candidates for the elections. Gaskin, who was born in the UK, resigned after the court ruled that it is illegal for dual citizens to sit in the National Assembly.
Bahamas Prime Minister Hubert Minnis has outlined to a top European representative the challenges faced by his country as it relates to illegal immigrants. He met with European Commissioner responsible for humanitarian aid and crisis management, Christoph Stylianides.
The meeting took place during Minnis' visit to Brussels last week. It said Prime Minister Minnis highlighted the state of the country's already stretched social resources faced by his administration and its impact on the country, the government's strategy to prevent the re-establishment of unsafe shanty towns, and the importance of protecting the country's borders. Prime Minister Minnis noted that immediately following the passage of Hurricane Dorian on September 1st, All residents, particularly those from Grand Bahama and Abacos, severely affected by the Category 5 storm, as well as undocumented migrants, were evacuated and provided with shelter, food, and medical treatment at government's expense. Repatriations were suspended for a period of time for non-documented residents affected by the hurricane, but Prime Minister Minnis reaffirmed that all undocumented migrants would be repatriated and construction of shanty towns would not be tolerated.
In sports, we start with cricket as Afghanistan sealed a first T20 series win over West Indies with a 29-run victory in Lucknow, India on Sunday. Afghanistan set up a decider by making 1-1 at the same venue on Saturday and completed the turnaround the following day. 17-year-old Gov't smashing 79 off 52 balls in their total of 156 for 8. The Windies' shortcomings with bat were then shown up as could only make 127 for 7 in a poor run chase. Naveen Ul-Haq taking 3 for 24. Shai Hope top scored with 52 in his first game of the series as a replacement for the injured Dinesh Ramdin, and Kieran Pullard's first T20 series as captain ended in a surprise defeat on the back of a 3-0 ODI victory. In football, Jamaica dropped points for the first time in their Group C League B of the CONCACAF Nations League with a 1-1 draw with Guyana on Monday. The game was played at the Montego Bay Sports Complex. The results saw Jamaica finish atop the group with 16 points, scoring 21 goals and conceding only 1 in the 6 games. And that's the news on PBCJ. Thank you so much for watching.